Film Companion gets you your film fix. Hit the bell icon and subscribe to get notified every time we drop a new video.
Shimit, such a pleasure to have you on Film Companion. Congratulations on A Suitable Boy.
Thank
You,
you.
of course, directed one of the episodes in the six-part series. You were also sort of the second in charge on the whole project. And I was wondering, Shimit, you've, of course, worked with Mira before. You edited The Reluctant Fundamentalist. But how does a creative collaboration like this work? I mean, you're a very well-known director. And how do you submit to another director's creative vision?
Well, the advantage I had for this one was that I had worked with Mira in the editing room for Reluctant, and she's a big influence in my life in terms of the work she's done and the way that she looks at. Not that my films are the same, but it's just one of those intuitive things that you kind of want what you want for yourself. You just want to be out of the way of the person who's doing all the thinking and making sure you're just supporting it, and you're just not asking too many questions and try to interpret what exactly is going on. It's the best way to do something like this because she already had her hands full with everything going on. So I just try to be as much fly in the wall and observe how she was doing it, where her thought process was. It was fascinating exercise to get into her head creatively that way, meaning that, of course, editing also I also try to interpret what she wanted out of a scene or just, a series of edits. But this was different. I just observed her, how she wanted to do the whole, style of it, and and just kind of be just super intuitive about everything that was going on.
But you never had a moment, Shimit, where you felt like the director in you sort of emerging to say that, no, I think we should do it that way. Those kind of situations didn't happen at all?
Well, a series is a different entity, right? How can I say, there's a controversial line that it's not a cinema, So in a way you have an hour restriction and, a lot of things you can only do for the format of that hour, and you can, Mira tried to push the format and I kind of understood it, but it has to have its own language, and even though I got credit for one episode, I've done many scenes in many episodes. So to have it not jump from one scene that she was doing and then there's another weird scene going on, that was the big trick, right? Because usually in episodic, you get one episode to do. And that kind of can let you, flow with what you want to do. But my work in this is a little different. I was doing scenes throughout, in between, and there would be a scene I would do and the next scene would be her scene. So to kind of push that into that would be tricky.
So, Shimit, you made 3 movies, Ab Tak Chappan, Takte India, Rocket Singh. 3 films that were very distinctive, very disruptive in their own way. And the last one was 2009, and you haven't made a feature film since then. So what is going on? Why haven't we seen a feature film from you?
Well, I've been working in the background a lot of projects. I have been off and on a lot of things that I've, over the years, try to get out and thinking, well, this is the right one, not right one. Some of them been tricky. Some of them took 4 years to kind of figure out now is the right time. And then we just didn't have my act together on it, probably, So that kind of stuff has been happening ever since. Little bit of FYI, I was supposed to shoot this romance, but, I wasn't. Jaideep's script, and I just didn't think I could pull it off. So I kind of spent a whole long time working on it, with Jaideep, just feedback and everything, he was writing the script. So, but I have done stuff, I have like 8 projects that are just kind of everywhere. It's like too many of them right now. But it's just a matter of the timing, the actor, the kind of the material that I wanted to push out, so that kind of thing kept happening over the years, and it's just one of those string of things where I was like, okay, this is not really the way I want to make it. This is one of me. So a lot of things went into that, a lot of things about certain projects, they just didn't come around. The right actors didn't, or maybe didn't want to do it or whatever. So that kind of a thing, so it didn't happen that way. And I kind of said, okay, only limited, this is the only way it can be made, or this can be, so it's just a string of bad incidences that happen that I'm not able to make movies that I want to make.
Okay, so there are two rumors swirling right now. One is that you are directing a series for Shah Rukh's company on migration and bonded labor. Is that true?
No, I am not. No,
You're not.
I'm not really aware of that one, but I know
You're not even aware?
No, I'm not aware of that. So that's
Okay.
new.
Second one is that there's a movie with Yash Raj that Aditya is going to announce next month. Is that true?
I'm trying to think which one would be, because there are many of them. So it could be very well that, we're making one. So there's one of that. So that's the other thing. So yeah, it could be one of those. And there could be that. I mean, there's other projects as well. I'm kind of trying to keep my head on top and just figure out. There's like few of them. So, and they're all like, because now the climate has changed a lot, and I don't know what's going to happen with the actors. Some of the actors are going to be all busy, and they're not going to be able to. I mean, they'll have to finish the projects that they had. I think everybody's like, it's like a racehorse now, where everybody's on the starting block of just trying to work, And I think where you put your, horse in, that has to go off right place, and that's what it is. So right now, I'm not even contemplating. Over the years, there have been so many projects that I thought it's going to happen in another 6 months, another 3 months, and I've given up that idea unless it kind of everything is in line and kind of I'm on set, So that's sort of a thing.
But Shimit,
So I'm not sure.
Did this sort of, it's almost a decade, right? It's more than a decade.
Yeah.
Did this experience of, putting together projects, not having them happen, or, just the stars not aligning, has it shaped your enthusiasm or your voice, or, has it sort of curdled you in any way? Because it's tough.
No, I've been doing a lot of advertising. No, I've been doing a lot of advertising, a lot of trying to just, and of course I took some time off to edit a project for Mira, and I've been doing odd things like that, and I did the series. So I've been doing other things and thinking about the kind of projects that I really want to do. I mean, I got in making films in Bombay in a different way. I mean, I kind of landed into it, but I kind of went from one project to another project for the first 3 ones, and was something that that I kind of just did. I never really thought about them in a way, and then maybe it's a good and the bad of it that I didn't think about it. But I also have other projects that I want to do that are really dear to me, which are tricky. They're very, very tricky to make in India, let's say, because they're not really it's not. I mean, it's very different. I mean, how can I say it?
Politically tricky?
Well, no, it's just the way I want to present them. It's there are a lot of things that now has changed. The world has changed. Now you have streaming and everything, but earlier, just many things about it. The way you tell a story, the way you kind of explain everything, which is not a bad thing. And again, nothing against it, but there's a lot of things in movies today. Now it's changed again. It's changed over the last 10 years since I made movies, but there are a lot of things we had to explain a lot to the audience. What the filmmakers said, that you have to tell them what and that's a different way now. People don't need that.
Yeah.
And that is different. So a lot of stories that I want to tell, the way I want to tell it, it's more about the way I want to tell it. It's actually kind of fitting what I would like to say, or the way I want to say it. So it's different now. So I'm very excited about that for sure.
But Shimon, is there um, a challenge when you don't make a feature for this long? Is it hard to kind of, because the industry just does change, things, change. And of course, this year has been particularly kind of altering in so many
Mm-hmm.
ways, good and bad. Uh, is it difficult to kind of get back into the way Bollywood works?
I mean, it's not, I've never been part of it in a way. I'm not, I've been accidentally I got into it and I got the work. So one way is that I think about it is I'm going to make my first film now, because really those are not my first films. They were
Really?
different. In a way, I don't mean to discard them, but
Yeah,
in a way, I
I
always
hope
think
you
that first
don't.
film is always the best film for me. I have this notion in my head. So every time I can make a best first film, it'll be really good. Every time I think that I can just wipe off everything I know and and start from scratch, I always feel I'll do better. Because I feel that energy, that kind of naivety that you need to make a really good film. I feel it needs that foolishness as well.
Yeah.
So that excitement, like, you can't recreate that again after you make your first film. So I always mentally think that how can I not think about it? And this has been the incredible side effect of not having made a movie for 10. It's my personal joke on me that actually this is the best way to you to not think about you made movies before, and just walk into a situation and make the movie, and it feels incredibly exciting that way.
You said that you think of yourself more as an editor than a director. And I was curious, what does that mean? How is an editor, in terms of sensibility, different from a director?
Oh, did I say that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think editor, I guess, I don't know. I don't think about it that way, but so much anymore. But I think you're just cautious about. You just know what you want. I think primarily, or maybe not. Sometimes I remember making my earlier mistakes where I want everything. I want everything. I want to be able to go into the edit room and make decisions about how I want to carve the story out. I just want to be left alone with the footage and tell the story, and I'll just grab everything. That was the earlier phase. Now the editor in me is like, I just want that thing, and that's all I want. That little piece is what I want, and then I want this piece. But of course, making it comfortable for the actor, not making them aware that you just need the piece, because that's treating the actor like they're just a tool. It's not a best thing to work. So I kind of learning how to work with that. So you want the actor to have the experience, but that you want a certain piece, but also that's also limiting, because they will teach you. The actor will teach you about what you don't have, and that's also exciting. So it's never really an editor's way of thinking anymore. For me, it's not like you can, with when especially it comes to actors, you feel like you want them to guide you. You bring him a certain place, and you kind of they know more about the role than you will. They inhabit the role and they live in it, and so you'll be a fool not to challenge yourself with what they're trying to come in. And it's not no longer your movie either. It's everybody's movie.
Tell
So
me, Shimit, you also said that two of your biggest influences are Satyajit Ray and Manmohan Desai. And I thought
oh
that was just the best range possible. So how have these two filmmakers influenced you?
well, Ray, because of the humanity, I think that humanity that he inhabited. I mean, just like, you can't touch it. You can't touch the way he looked at people and understood them, and what made them. And then Manmohan Desai, because he's just purely entertaining. I mean, that's the extreme, right? Because that you want. I'm straddling between this idea that there's no one safe thing about movies for me. Just both are great. So for me, it's just entertain somebody in a way that is emotionally moving, which is both of them do that, but in different scales.
Yeah.
The scales are really really different. One is more classical in a way, and one is more audience level, and I feel I like access to both. I like to use the classical bits, and I want to be able to use trying to just go for the lowest lowest way to kind of like say, okay, you understand this, then this is fine, that sort of thing.
Yes. Okay. And tell me finally, Shimit, what's the best piece of practical advice about filmmaking that anyone's ever given you and that you would like to share with, all aspiring filmmakers? Not the lofty ones about find your voice and follow your dream, but just something that's actually helped you to be a better filmmaker.
Advice. Oh, wow. Okay. Let me think if I just have a good pair of shoes so you can keep walking around. Have a great pair of shoes so you feel comfortable because you'll go from here to there. I mean, that's all you can say, and metaphorically as well, So, you gotta be on your feet. Hopefully you're not sitting down.
Yeah.
Because that's not the way to do the job. I think sometimes you can, but you have to go in and look at stuff.
So get yourself the best pair of shoes you can find.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best way.
That's wonderful. Shimit, thank you so much, and really looking forward to whatever you do next.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's been a pleasure talking to you.